Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football. The Miami Hurricanes getting it done in the transfer portal, landing not one, but two commitments tonight. One being from former running back from Nebraska, Ajay Allen, who I absolutely love, being a Big Ten guy. Got to see him plenty, a dude who kind of slipped through the cracks in the high school recruiting class and is a guy that I think can be an immediate impact performer for the Miami Hurricanes. And then another really interesting get and JaDais Richard, a cornerback coming over from Vanderbilt. Couple things to note early. Both of these guys coming from the 2022 class. So what does that tell you? These guys aren't just a one-year stopgap player. These guys are, you get into the program, you get them coached up. They will have 3 to 4 years of eligibility remaining. And so it's a massive get for Miami. Essentially two young guys who you can continue to build this program up with Mario Cristobal. Now, before we get into the players and talk a little bit about what Mario Cristobal is going in this transfer portal, we have a few targets that I also want to talk about. Again, I just want to say thank you to you guys, especially the Miami Hurricane fans. If you are a sicko and follow kind of the recruiting on Twitter, you kind of had a feeling this was coming. A lot of the assistant coaches, director of personnel, doing some cryptic tweets. I had my eyes on Twitter all day, and they land two commitments. So, again, appreciate you guys. You guys have been rocking heavy with the recruiting, so I can't thank you guys enough. Over 5,000 subscribers. I don't think it's going to be slowing down for the Miami Hurricanes. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. That is the best way you can support the fellas. Now, I want to talk to Ajay Allen first because he's kind of a guy that I'm a little bit more familiar with, and I really do like the addition. I think a lot of Miami fans were kind of scratching their heads a little bit, bringing in a visitor as a running back, right? You have Henry Parrish, you have Don Chaney, you have Mark Fletcher. When you look at that running back room, Henry Parrish was kind of a lone bright spot in that Miami offense. And if you've been following us for a while, you know my take on Josh Gaddis. I think he's really bad. And so there was not many bright spots for that Miami Hurricanes offense. I think Henry Parrish, the transfer from Ole Miss, was one of them. Then you have Don Chaney, who has struggled with injuries. And then you have true freshman Mark Fletcher, who will be enrolling in the summer. So I think you could have added another body in the running back room. And I think Mario Cristobal and that coaching staff agreed. And they go out and get a guy in the Ajay Allen who, in my mind, just slipped through the cracks a little bit, according to 24/7 Sports, right? 500th nationally. You look at his time in Nebraska, he comes in as a true freshman and was essentially their starting running back for a couple games before he got hurt with collarbone injury. He was kind of slated to be a heavy contributor for Nebraska, and then he gets hurt with a collarbone. Two things I kind of want to note. It's really hard to get on the field consistently as a true freshman running back, just because a lot of those guys have the physical traits to play at the college level. Like Mark Fletcher, no doubt, has that. Now, the thing is, you can't play much if you don't have the great ball security and you can't pass protect. Ajay Allen was a guy that the coaching staff at Nebraska trusted in order to be a good pass protector, hold on to the football. And you look at his numbers, average 5.8 yards per carry behind a dreadful Nebraska offensive line. And so he comes in and running behind one of the better offensive lines, I think, in the ACC here with the Miami Hurricanes. I think you're really, really excited about what Ajay Allen can bring to this backfield. And again, you suddenly kind of feel like maybe a kind of a slimmer depth chart according to the running back room. I think you feel a lot better about the bodies you have adding a guy like Ajay Allen, who, again, seemingly just slipped through the cracks a little bit during his recruiting process. The next guy I want to talk about, JaDais Richard, coming over from Vanderbilt. This is a guy that was a top 400 kid nationally, and there's a lot to like about him. And the one thing you're really seeing the college football level and the NFL level really value, and that's length. Like if you are a long guy who can put hands on someone and kind of disrupt their route tree, get hands on the football when it's in the air, you're going to get drafted in the NFL. You're going to get scholarship offers to go play college football. JaDais Richard has that, right? 6'2", wiry frame, a guy that from what I heard of Vanderbilt, and I was kind of not familiar with him, and so I heard he was kind of one of the brighter spots in that Vanderbilt spring practice session. He hits the portal and was kind of a hot commodity in the transfer portal. Miami gets it done, and that's the second cornerback they've brought in the last couple of weeks, landing a guy in Jaden Davis, who's kind of the veteran guy, only has 1 year of eligibility left, coming over from Oklahoma. Now you had JaDais Richard, who's kind of a young pup who might not start for you year one in the program, but a guy that you certainly can get behind in the sense that he's going to be a ball player down the road for the Miami Hurricanes. One guy I want to note, and it's seemingly because Miami had so much traction this weekend with their transfer visits, Tywone Malone. I think this one would be the best get for Miami. And you take a look at Miami and what they have up front. This is a position that I think Mario Cristobal really wanted to address, right? Bringing in Thomas Gore, bringing in Branson Dean. That defensive line, you're seeing Mario Cristobal really target the trenches. You look at the 2023 class, right? Obviously trying to get, we're going to pause this ad because it's distracting me. You saw Mario Cristobal really target the trenches, right? Francis Marioga, Pancake Contro, Samson Akunla. They want to get more physical up front, not only on the offensive line, because then you take a look at what they did in the portal. They brought in a lot of guys, right? Javion Cohen, Matt Lee, and then Thomas Gore, Branson Dean on the defensive line. Miami's always going to have a fast team. Like you look at the type of players Florida produces, a lot of track athletes and a lot of speed. So Miami's always going to have that speed. I think what Mario Cristobal kind of wanted to bring into this program is some physicality along the trenches. Tywone Malone would certainly bring that. And you look at a guy like Leonard Taylor, who I included in my way too early 2024 NFL mock draft. You talk about special talent, that's Leonard Taylor. A little bit of a different game, though. Tywone Malone, much more of a space eater kind of guy, playing at Ole Miss around 315 pounds. He's 6'4", massive frame. And you talk about wanting to stop the run. You want to talk about getting guys who can handle double teams. That's what Tywone Malone brings. And there's a reason why Ohio State's after him. USC's after him. A lot of these Power 5 teams are after him because that is what he brings. And he's obviously a former top 100 dude nationally out of that 2021 class. He's got the physical tool sets to make that happen. And so, again, keep your eye on a guy like Tywone Malone as well, but you have to be very happy with the addition of Ajay Allen and JaDais Richard to this class. And to kind of just recap here, you talk about what Miami's doing in the portal. I'm a big fan of what it is. Like, this is their 10th and 11th transfer they brought in kind of a mixed bag, but you're seeing and kind of we've seen teams address this in two different ways. You've seen a lot of teams just take quantity. Like, we're just like Colorado taking quantity players. You need to take quantity players because you got scholarships and you need to inject talent quickly. Miami, they are taking 11 transfers, which is a high number, but it's much more quality level guys, right? Jaden Davis, a guy who started 20-plus games at Oklahoma. Terry Roberts started a lot. Branson Dean, a lot of teams wanted him out of Purdue. Francisco Marioga, everything I'm hearing is he's going to be a starting linebacker for Miami. Devontae Brown was a sought-after cornerback from UCF. Javion Cohen, quite frankly, could have gone day 2 in the NFL draft, transfers to Miami. Miami is not only bringing in numbers, but they're bringing in quality transfers who are going to be immediate impact players for the Hurricanes in 2023. And that's how I think you use the portal, right? I think you recruit well, you develop well, and that's what Mario Cristobal, you know damn well Mario Cristobal is going to recruit well and kind of get that going. Then you use the transfer portal to kind of supplement your roster and say, hey, what kind of cracks in our depth chart do we see and how can we fill that? That's kind of how you do it in the transfer portal. I think that's exactly what Mario Cristobal is doing. Again, massive night for Miami. Very exciting time to be a Hurricane fan. And again, it's going to be a busy next couple months. So again, if you do enjoy the content, subscribe to the channel. That is the one way you can help the fellas out. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.